Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into literally the biggest entertainment launch in human history. I mean, the hype for Grand Theft Auto 6 is absolutely deafening right now, with millions of people dissecting every single frame of the marketing material. But today, we're going to peel back that polished, neon-soaked surface to reveal the intense, real-world and narrative darkness surrounding this game. We're exploring what it actually takes to build Vice City in the 2020s. And trust me, it's a fascinating and sometimes pretty grim picture.
Okay, let's dive into this. The core paradox of GTA 6 really comes down to this one question. What is the human cost of a $5 billion masterpiece? We're looking at a project that's designed to be a mind-blowing visual feat, but bringing that unprecedented level of detail to life creates immense corporate pressure and, according to recent reports, a very real human toll. So to understand how we got here, we first have to look at what exactly the developers are trying to achieve.
Part 1. The hyper-realistic Florida spectacle.
Just look at the sheer level of microscopic detail Rockstar is pulling off here. It's insane. Gaming communities are totally dissecting the flawless ray-traced global illumination, which basically makes light bleed into car interiors completely naturally. People are zooming in on perfect reflections in a character's sunglasses and marveling at the hyper-realistic skin textures. I mean, right down to the wrinkles, the sun damage, and even individual arm hairs. We're talking about a sprawling map covering everything from the impoverished swamps of the Everglades to the neon art deco of Vice City. But creating a world that looks this real, it presents a massive creative roadblock.
Part 2. Satirizing and absurd reality.
And this is the developer's ultimate creative dilemma. Take a look at the massive cultural shift from 2013 to 2026. When GTA 5 came out, they could mock early tech culture and reality TV because reality was still, normal enough to exaggerate. But in 2026, how do you out-meme a reality where Facebook literally renamed itself Meta, or where the influencer economy is a $21 billion industry, or where Florida Man is a daily, unironic news cycle? The world is already self-saturating. Exaggerating today's hypersensitive, polarized climate runs the risk of just looking exactly like the evening news.
This quote really hits the nail on the head. Reality has caught up past the jokes, and it's still going. Rockstar's writers are competing with reality, and reality is absolutely not pulling its punches. Because broad institutional parody might fall kind of flat today, the narrative actually has to shift. And this is exactly why the protagonists, Jason and Lucia, are so crucial. They aren't just avatars, they have to act as a grounded, character-driven lens for the player. The satire won't just be fake internet pages. It's going to come from watching these two characters try to survive and react to a system that is already completely absurd.
Let's move to Part 3, the billion-dollar pressure cooker.
So here we have the timeline of the game's release targets. We started out with rumors of fall 2025, which then shifted to a firm May 26, 2026 window, which was ultimately delayed again to the current official date of November 19, 2026. Now, impartially speaking, Rockstar is famous for prioritizing quality, so delays are historically just par for the course for them. But every single time that target shifts, it severely compounds the stress on the development team pushing for the finish line, and it radically disrupts the parent company's fiscal projections.
Which brings us to this absolutely massive number. $11.9 billion. That is parent company Take-Two Interactive's bookings forecast for the 2027 fiscal year. Because previous delays pushed an estimated $3 billion in bookings out of earlier quarters, their entire financial reputation with shareholders is pinned to hitting this November 2026 launch. In corporate terms, another delay is, well, it's virtually financially impossible. The game simply has to ship.
Part 4. Firings, leaks, and toxic crunch.
Right now, there is a staggering contrast happening behind closed doors. Just a few years ago, we saw reports highlighting Rockstar's active attempts to reform its culture, promising a progressive workplace and an end to those notorious 100-hour work weeks. But directly opposed to that, we have fresh, alarming allegations surfacing from the Quality Assurance Department in their Bengaluru, India office. Anonymous reports claim that this final polish phase has turned into a brutal race against the clock, with expectations to compress 5 or 6 months of work into just 2 or 3. We're talking allegations of 3 a.m. shifts and unpaid overtime.
Just read this quote. "The last few weeks have been a toll on mental health." That's a direct quote from one of those anonymous QA testers in India. It really highlights the specific, individual human element behind the push to squash thousands of bugs before that massive November launch. The pressure to deliver a perfect, flawless Leonida is falling incredibly heavily on the shoulders of the people testing the game layer by layer. And there's a whole other side to this intense pressure cooker, which is secrecy. Rockstar has faced massive gameplay leaks, and their response has been absolute. We are looking at their official statement regarding a wave of recent firings. Developers across the UK, the US, and India have been terminated over leaks. Now, while some ex-employees in Edinburgh claim these firings were actually disguised union busting, Rockstar categorically denied that, standing firm that any breach of confidentiality causes major commercial damage and warrants immediate dismissal. As you can imagine, the environment behind the scenes is incredibly tense right now.
Part 5. A tragic, doomed ending?
So, how does all this real-world corporate tension bleed into the game itself? Consider this question for a second. Will Jason and Lucia's alliance end in betrayal? Rockstar doesn't really do happily ever after, right? Think about Arthur Morgan or Dutch and Micah in Red Dead Redemption 2. The community is heavily theorizing that Jason and Lucia's Bonnie and Clyde dynamic is completely destined to fracture under the weight of their own criminal ambitions in Vice City.
Look at this ominous official character description of Jason. He's described as a guy who just wants an easy life, but things keep getting harder. Lucia, on the other hand, is driven, recently out of prison, and seemingly ruthless in her pursuit of the good life. Fans have meticulously analyzed trailer imagery, specifically a tender moment where they embrace, but you can see Lucia is secretly holding a gun behind her back. It beautifully sets up the clash between her ruthless ambition and his desire to just escape the life.
Let's rapidly break down the reigning fan theories here. Theory 1. Lucia, driven by sheer pragmatism, betrays Jason to secure her own freedom. Theory 2. Jason flips on her, perhaps even as an undercover cop, to escape the violence. Theory 3. A powerful external boss manipulates them into turning on each other. Or 4. They stage a fake betrayal to shake off the cops. Knowing Rockstar's history, the fake-out is definitely the least likely. A dual betrayal, where the player might even have to choose who survives? Well, that fits perfectly into the dark themes we've been discussing today. And that brings us to our final thought. The line between reality and fiction here is fascinatingly blurred. The real-world developers are fighting through immense corporate demands, leaks, and grueling hours just to build this world. Meanwhile, inside the game, Jason and Lucia will be fighting to survive a neon-soaked, hyper-polarized world that constantly threatens to crush them. So I leave you with this. When November 2026 rolls around and we finally step into this $5 billion masterpiece, what will be the true cost of that entertainment? And who actually gets to survive the dark side of Vice City? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.